Okay, my representative was Ron White. I will choose the one and only environmental issue he voted for, which I agree with too. It's called the Sharkfish Ban Elimination Act of 2019. It ended all imports, exports, distribution, and possession for commercial purposes of shark fin with a fine of $100,000. Is a victory for the protection of sharks. I agree with that. Um, I agree with it because, I mean, when the market for something like shark fin brings such a high price, uh, it's just like ivory or anything else. It leads to the extinction of the species. Um, that's negative on the environment because it's not just a single species, which is sad enough in itself. But when that species is such a prominent predator or something like that, the extinction of it is going to lead to the overpopulation of what was its prey and whatever other organisms and life forms that possibly are affected by that, which is ultimately it leads to imbalance in that ecosystem and is bad for the entire environment. Um, I guess the opposite perspective would be, the capitalist market. I'm sure there's tons of, really poor fishermen from Mexico and South American countries that, unfortunately can't really provide a decent living for themselves and their families without that kind of market. But what I would say to that is, those countries need to be find ways to provide better jobs so that people don't have to do anything illegal. um, Something he voted against was the Great American Outdoors Act. That would allow permanent funding year after year of over $900 million annually to preserve land, water conservation funds, landscapes, national parks, um, the national parks infrastructures. Uh, I disagree with that. Um, I don't know. I guess it's just something important to me. I'm big outdoors type. Um, I love parks. I was a Boy Scout, my entire childhood. Um, I've got to hike and camp in a lot of the state and national parks, and it's just something that's important to me. Um, I think that the negative effect that it would have is, without funding and just letting the infrastructure of the national parks fall apart. I mean, we're losing. Uh, you're losing, one of the most beautiful things that we have on this planet. Our forestry and mountain. Or what you're losing is the ability for people to enjoy it. I mean, if you let it get trashed, it's no longer beautiful. If you let it fall apart, it's untrackable. I think that it's important for people to have those things. I know a lot of people don't really go out and do stuff like that anymore, but it's important to me. Um, I suppose, people would say, probably that 900 million is too much. Politicians are always thinking about the debt. We certainly wouldn't want our state's debt in the current state that our national debt is. However, I mean, has a pretty strong economy, and I feel like a lot of Texans are take a lot of pride in Texas, and how vast it is, and the different beautiful landscapes that we have, all the way from forestry to desert to mountain ranges to sea coast. I think that they would be proud to maintain that. So can't really go with the state's debt side on that one. The let me pull my computer up. What were they called again? LCV. Pretty interested in this one thing they want to do: help Puerto Rico to fully recover from, you know, earthquakes, and I imagine like probably some hurricanes recently too. As a country of wealth that at least tries to pretend like they're, I can't think of the word, but a moral country, I think it's important to help less fortunate nations, especially a lot of these islands right now just getting bombarded with earthquakes and hurricanes, and those people, you know, they're just out there. Their houses are destroyed. They got nothing. It'd be a shame to not provide when you're able to people who are suffering so badly. The only thing, I'm looking through the issues, I don't really see anything I disagree with. I guess I feel like they're probably a little bit too politically motivated. Not in the sense that, they should definitely help you choose who to vote for to promote these environmental actions and stuff. But hate it when it goes a little too far and seems to almost demonize, Republicans or something. That's going to come across, because I guess the Republicans, they're definitely against the renewable energies and stuff like that, but environmental issue. I mean, you got to think Texas is probably it's definitely currently like a more Republican state. There's over 2 million registered hunters in Texas, and there's parts of the environment they care about too. There's a lot of organizations working really hard to keep track of animal populations, fish populations in lakes, putting out licenses for these hunters and fishers to legally follow by and keep our ecosystem healthy as far as animal conservation. So I think people need to work together and just from either side, not so much demonization. That I see that obviously voter wise, they definitely need to lean Democratic, but as far as like just the political stuff, I think it's just a little too much. Not really that I disagree, just pushing it kind of hard there.